And we're live, but it was on you to start there, Jerry.
Oh, that's good. Me picking my ear and sweating like a beast. Can we preface this whole podcast with the fact that we did this immediately after a workout?
Yes. So the reason Jerry looks the way he does is because he was just sparring and having fun.
I should have worn my workout clothes for the podcast.
I agree, though. You would have suction cupped to the chair, and then you would have been stuck.
It would have just been awful. Today was good though. It was like all sparring, and offense, defense, and then we did the abs, and that was pretty good to do with one leg because at one point my leg fell off.
That happens. You'll either get kicked in the leg or you'll be moving so much that one leg just decides that it's done. Now
I'll let you introduce our guest.
Yes.
And after you introduce our guest, I have a question about sparring that I can talk to both of you about.
Cool. Yeah, no, our guest for today, Ryan Brinkman, Jiu Jitsu black belt. We have been friends for how long has it been, man?
It's probably, I would say
7.
7 or more years.
Wow. Yeah. I think we originally, I think when we first contacted each other, we were both blue belts.
Yeah, actually, I was a purple belt.
I just got
my purple belt, and you guys were still a white belt. Jeff had just come in.
Man, that was a long time ago.
That was I think it was about 10 years ago.
Wow.
I think it's been 10 years.
Wow. Yeah, 10 years. If I was a white belt, it was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I've known Ryan for 5 minutes. I met him. He had his shirt and pants off. He was getting out of the shower, and I freaked him out. I was like, "Hi, you're Ryan," and he was like, "Oh, yes, I am."
That's awesome.
And I was like, "We'll be talking very soon. Put some clothes on, please."
But no, let me just say as well, not only is he a jiu-jitsu black belt, he's an amazing surfer as well. And I kind of want to hear a little bit more about that because I think there's such a cool, parallel between jiu-jitsu and surfing. And I really related jiu-jitsu to skateboarding. So I'm curious to know how that related to surfing, for you.
Yeah. It actually, the reason I got started with jiu-jitsu is from surfing.
So how was that?
I actually saw a post on Facebook the other day from a black belt saying that, we should always go back to what got you started in training in the first place, because now the UFC is so big. Back when we started, it's just like you started maybe to defend yourself or, have options, whatever. It wasn't to get into the UFC to become a world champion in jiu-jitsu.
Sure.
And I actually got beat up at a party by 2 guys that I surfed with.
No way.
And yeah.
What did you steal their wave? Is that what happened?
No, we were friends and drinking was going on, things like that. And
the whole time they did it, were they like, "Hang 10, bro, cowabunga"? Like, I just picture these Point Break meatheads beating you up.
No.
And then you coming back into the party 2 years later and be like, "Hey, what's up, bro?" And then, bah, 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 choke, dead.
Yeah,
Is that how it worked?
Kind of wanted to do that. The 2 guys are actually very successful pro surfers.
Nice.
And they just have a little bit too much to drink. I was there, took a nice looking girl with me and was excited. And just out of nowhere, just got slapped in the face.
Jeez.
And I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do, how to, deal with the situation. And I went out front, away from the party to, try to figure out what I do,
Sure.
Like, I don't even know how to throw a punch. I'm not sure what to do. And the kid came around, and we ended up fighting. And another kid came in who I was friends with, supposedly, and started kicking me while I was on the ground. And it was just, I was like humiliated, I felt terrible. And I was interested in martial arts. So the next day, I found, luckily, a jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai school. And I started, and I never stopped.
Wow.
And, I wanted to get revenge, like you're talking about. Like, hey man, let me choke you out now. But actually, I thanked the guys.
Because they got you into it.
They got me into it. So
what do they say when you thank them? Do they say, "Oh, whatever," or were they humbled that happened? Did they feel bad at some point?
Now they know what I do, how long I've been training and everything, and that they definitely get choked to sleep.
Sure.
But but I thanked them. I said, hey, thanks, because you changed my life. Like, you changed my life for the better. 100%.
That's
know?
awesome.
And
That's a nice
so,
story.
and instead of using it in the wrong way,
Sure.
you know, and going up and going like, hey, look what I know now, and I'm going to use it to beat you up. A little bit of me wanted to do it, but
I admire that so much. And both of you guys have this sense of calm. I feel like the more you do it and the better you get, the more calm you become. Because I'd have been like, okay, so I'm this black belt in jiu-jitsu now. Thank you so much for getting me into this and putting me in that humbling situation. I appreciate it. By the way, I set your surfboards on fire, and now you're gonna die. And like, I don't know if I'd ever be able to shut off that awful, vengeful part of me. It's like, by the way, I want to hurt you in front of your family.
Who knows? Yeah, that's it. I think Ryan and I are alike in that regard, that we're just chill. You know, I mean, I've never been one that's revengeful. You know, and I've never. I don't know. We talked about it on a previous podcast. The whole idea of Conor McGregor's winners focus on winning, losers focus on winners. You know, so if you're out to get revenge and you hate them and there's a good chance they're probably still doing something right.
Yeah.
Well, they're still in your head all the time.
Exactly.
And you're not in theirs, so they're winning in a way.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Which makes me want to burn their house down even more now.
Sure. it's mental jujitsu.
Yeah.
Which I think jujitsu gives you. You know, it gives you that mental edge. Like, you can be in the worst spot on the ground, you know, and then you just start thinking about, what are my escapes from here? How can I get out? And personally, I feel like that's translated to life for me, like tenfold, you know?
Yes. 100%. I try to incorporate that in everything I do in my life, you know, just like you said, like, you know, just putting it piece by piece. If you're in a bad situation on the mats, not freaking out and just, you know, like you get in an argument on the phone and you know, or a text message battle and you want to send that mean text instead of sit back,
take
relax, take a breath, think about it, and then you go, oh, I'm not going to send that, you know, or you know, thinking about what you're going to say gives you a little bit of confidence too, that you can say what you want to say.
Sure.
And not be scared, you know, like even with maybe a boss, you know, somewhere you used to work or something, they come and, you know, they corner you about something, you get nervous, you get shaky, like, oh man, it's just a tense situation. And with jiu-jitsu, you know, like, man, I've been in the worst spot against the best guys in the world.
Yep.
So, you know, I'm good. I'm good no matter what, you know.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your jiu-jitsu background, who you train with, who you're under, and all of that. I also want you to touch base on your school that recently opened.
Yeah, today was a DOJO Raid. I don't know if
There
everybody
you
knew
go.
this. We finally had one. I've been waiting since week one, and Ryan B's school came and dojo raided Ryan G's school.
It was pretty awesome.
It was awesome for you because you weren't in the cage with the curly-haired dude that looks like he slept with my wife or every other woman in the world. Like the dude with the photoshopped stomach.
Yeah, he's another one I want you to talk about because he has a fight coming up, right?
Yep, I have two guys fighting. The one guy, his real name's the guy you were talking about who looks like a model.
Photoshopped abs guy.
Yeah,
What's his name?
His name's Jay. His real name's Jerome. So Jerome Klum, and he's 1-0.
He's 2-0 if you count sparring with me today.
There you go.
That guy, whoo! There was one point where Ryan looks in the cage, and I'm sparring with Jay, and Jay's just, he doesn't know I have kids. He doesn't care if I live or die. I heard, let's go light, guys. Let's play. And I was like, all right, we'll go light to medium light. And then this guy comes in and goes, boom, go bang, a boom, and he's just hammering me. So I just start throwing a little bit more, and Ryan looks at me and goes, Jerry, take it down, or he's going to hit you hard. And I'm thinking, I'm just fighting for my life in here. I don't know why anybody hasn't seen this yet. Nobody's looking when I'm getting killed. And then he takes his shirt off, and I go, well, that's it. That's what happened. He doesn't even know.
I've told you before, for fighters that we have, I don't, at weigh-ins a lot of times, unless it's like a professional fight or whatnot, if it's the first time that I know that their opponent has seen them, I don't have them take off their shirt. Like, especially if the weigh-ins are like around all the other fighters. I say, just, if they're shredded, I say, weigh in with your shirt on. You're going to make weight. You're good. But I have literally had it where I have a fighter step on a scale, take off their shirt, they're shredded. The coach comes up to me and goes, we're not fighting your guy. See ya. And just from what they look like, they're done.
Yeah.
I'd have done that today. I'd have done that for sure. I think for sure. Now, I got us off track with the dojo raid, but it really was you have a school and you brought your guys in to get a little work with strangers.
Yeah, just to get with
Strangers. I call it sparring with strangers.
It's good because, no matter how big or small your school is, you guys end up going with each other all the time. So, probably during the day class, you guys have a lot of the same crowd for the most part. And so you guys know, hey, this guy's got a really good, kick. This guy's got, great overhand right. Watch out for that, so you kind of figure that out. So it's nice to come in and, like I said, Ryan and I have known each other for 10 years plus. We spoke about it on the phone and said, hey, let's get in, and it'll help both guys to get different looks. They know nothing about each other.
Sure.
And they still kept it calm. And the reason they're keeping it calm, I think, stems from the instructors, from myself and yourself. Being humble and relaxed and mellow, and then your students do the same.
Yep. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I also think, and this is in Jiu Jitsu, this is in striking, this is in MMA, it's in everything. When an instructor is unsure about their skills, they'll try to get their best guys to go against somebody else's. They don't care if it's the best or not. And then they pretty much say, go as hard as you can. Or you'll get the instructors that want to prove themselves as a coach, like right away. So they'll get their guys fighting that have like 1 month experience. That's just tough, And it's just kind of like, let's just throw them in and see what happens. And if they win, then I guess I'm a good coach,
Yeah.
Whereas as you're mentioning, and you're talking about, we kind of do the opposite of, listen, you're going in just to get a little bit of experience, train with some different people. It's not a competition. It's fun sparring. You're going to be friends at the end of the day, so on and so forth,
That's the Dog Brothers thing.
It is.
Friends at the end of the day.
That's important.
I don't know about that. I don't want to get smacked in the head with a stick at all, with a mask or anything.
It's nice to talk to someone that thinks that same way. I mean, you've been martial arts for a very long time. I don't know if you've been in it quite as long as Ryan, but you've been in it a long, long time, and you're still like, you know what? I'm not into getting hit with sticks.
Yeah, no thanks.
It's not for everyone, I was going through some of my fights last night, and I found one of them where the guy I was kneeing, I actually broke his arm with a knee because he was blocking, and literally, like, I had never really watched the fight, and I'm watching it. And I see my knee go through his, ulna. Is that what it is? I guess. So
it's called your blade.
So here's a quick lesson. So radical, radius. Does that make sense? There we go.
Where's the radical?
Radical. So it's on the top, radius, and then this is your ulna. So I broke his ulna, and you can see in the video the hand goes kabloosh, and just kind of goes limp. And fast forward through the fight, it went to the ground. I want to say I got a rear naked choke. He gets up and goes, "Oh, my arm's broken," and it was just like nonchalant. So
yeah,
personally, I think strikes are just as devastating as getting hit with a stick. And when you get hit with a stick, it's a different kind of feeling. Like when you get punched, I kind of equate it to like a dull pain. When you get hit with a stick, it's like a sharp, like you're aware of everything that's going on. I just got hit with a stick pain.
Right.
Totally different, but.
They just had a video on Facebook. Did you see that with John Fitch from the UFC?
I don't know.
And his instructor, Dave Camarillo.
Sure.
And they're helping out a lot of guys that are in the Army. And so they have the knives that they use.
The shock knives.
Yeah, and I think it's 75,000 volts.
Yeah.
That this puts out.
You fought a guy with one of those, right?
I fought a guy with one of those.
Or a cattle prod, you said.
I did a cattle prod too. Cattle prod. So
cattle prod.
Sorry, I've done some eccentric things. So apparently it goes stun gun, taser, and then apparently the shock knives are a little bit more than a taser. Then there's cattle prods.
I just want to see how ridiculous I could be. Like, go in there and be like,
I still have them. I'm going to bring in my cattle prods and we're going to cattle prod Jerry.
Do you drive around with a cattle prod?
You know what? The original reason
I'll throw a bucket of water on you and cattle prod you back.
The original reason, it's only like 2 9-volt batteries too, and it's ridiculous. The original reason I got it was because we were taking our dog on walks where there was a lot of off-leash dogs. I don't want to kick another dog or whatever. So what am I going to do?
Cattle prod 'em.
Cattle prod it. I'd rather you kick my dog.
You'd be amazed how quick they just bolt whenever you cattle prod them. It's like they got bit by a dragon.
Even if you just bzz, 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 you just buzz it.
Probably.
People start figuring it out. It's funny, the more I get into combat sports and the more I get into fighting, there are just little moments where I realize what I've gotten myself into. Like when Ajarn Chai was here and we had that weekend. And
Sure.
all those great instructors from all over the place were here. And the one guy I really enjoyed talking to, Crew Joe Cargado.
Joe Cargado, yeah.
Joe Cargado was one of the nicest guys ever. He was helping me with leg kicks and talking, and he was super smiley, and he just seemed like a really down-to-earth, nice, awesome guy.
Yeah.
And then he said something to me that I'll take with me the rest of my life.
Uh-oh.
And it reminded me that, like, no matter how much they're smiling, those guys could kill you if they want to. He was like, you know what I love is hitting an organ from an angle. When you hit an organ from an angle, you really can devastate it more than if you just hit it straight on. And I thought, like, that's a thought I never had.
No.
That's a thought that I never thought I'd ever had. And so I was like, you know what? I'm in the room with murderers.
It's crazy the amount of trust that we have with each other,
Right.
Because the things we're doing is, with the choke, if you're choking me, I have to have enough trust in you to believe that you're going to let me go when I tap.
Exactly.
Or if you have my arm or leg, whatever it may be, I have to have 100% trust in you. Same thing sparring, standing up, or I couldn't imagine with getting hit with a stick, but
We talked
or
about
cattle
that.
prod.
Cattle prod.
No, thank you, but
We talked about that a couple weeks ago. There's not being able to hurt somebody and choosing not to hurt them.
Sure.
And there was a lot of choosing not to hurt me going on today,
There was.
which was nice.
It's just friendly sparring.
Good old Photoshop. It wasn't the friendliest. All right, I'm not going to send him a Christmas card. That guy kicked me in the chest. I was like, I have children, sir. Got to play with them later. take it down a notch. You and your curly hair and your Italian good looks.
Let's talk about his Italian good luck. So he has a fight coming up.
he has a fight coming up. The fight is actually on the 30th of this month.
Okay.
It's at the Sands Casino here. So I don't know if everybody can see this
Talking to the mic.
while
There we
I'm
go.
talking. So it's at the Sands Casino. This organization's really, really good.
Yeah, we fought on that on their cards before. They're great.
Yeah, they're really nice people. This will be Jay's second amateur MMA fight. And his last fight he fought I think 3 months ago, and he won by arm and guillotine choke in the second round.
Awesome.
So did a great job, and also I have another guy who's from an affiliate school of ours that's down in Waynesboro. His name's Elijah Harris, and he will be fighting as well. He's 1-1, and he'll be fighting at 155, and then Jay or Jerome is fighting at a catch weight at 160.
Okay.
So he's working his way down to 55. And then Elijah is going to have to work his way down a little bit more than that, maybe 35. I'm guessing.
All jokes aside, those guys were super respectful and awesome with everybody.
Yeah,
today.
I'll tell you what, Ryan, you've done a great job with your group. As we were just touching base on, like you don't find that all that often, and I don't invite in other schools, to just come in and spar. But whenever it was you and you said, hey, I've got some guys that need to spar, they have upcoming fights, I'm like, they're training with Ryan. They're chill. Ryan's chill, so that's pretty cool.
Definitely. No, I enjoy that. And, when I grew up in Florida, and I had a school there. I was lucky enough to have a school with Daniel Marias, who's a 5-time Jiu Jitsu world champion who you've trained with.
Yeah, he's a stud.
He's amazing. And so we would have a lot of guys come to our school that are brown belts, black belts, purple belts, and they have no intention whatsoever of signing up or even trying to learn when they're there and Daniel's instructing. Daniel, being from Brazil, he would call these guys check it outs.
Check it out. I like it.
They're coming to check out what we have. And at the time, I had Daniel Marias living with me for 7 years. I had Helson Gracie's son, Holland, living there. So Holland was a brown belt, I was a brown belt, and then Daniel's brother's a black belt world champion as well. So when these guys would come in, we would put them through the ringer. They would go with me, and then with Holland Gracie, and then with Diego Moraes, and then Daniel Moraes. So they get their check it out, and then they would leave, humbled.
Sure.
But I don't like that. There's
It's like scouting, kind of. Is it?
Well, I almost think did you find that they came in to see if what they had was better than what you had, and if it was better, then screw you guys. Like, did you kind of get that feeling sometimes?
So that was a
I
DOJO
got
raid.
that's more of a raid. We've actually done raids before, but back in the day,
We're coming back to this.
Yeah, that were really awesome. But those guys would come in not even looking to sign up. Like I said, they don't care about the technique, the warm up, not trying to pick anything up from a 5-time world champion. They're just looking for the sparring. That's it. And they want to roll just to say, like, oh, I went 7 minutes with Holland Gracie and he only tapped me once.
That's not the point of it, though. It shouldn't be, right?
Well, the thing is, they end up becoming just basically like a piece of meat. They just get, eaten up. That's it. They're not coming to learn,
What could they have done that they would have come in, you guys would have all rolled with them in the same order, but they wouldn't have gotten eaten up, you wouldn't have put them through the ringer, and you would have both benefited? How could they have done it differently?
I think if
is there any way to come in without it seeming like a check it out, like a DOJO raid?
Definitely. Coming in and maybe coming up, introducing yourself, bowing to the instructor, letting him know how much respect you have for him, asking questions in the positions, not just repping it 2 or 3 times and then just sitting there waiting, like, hey, when are we going to spar? And then when it's time to roll, if there's a black belt in the room and the guy's a purple belt, you're really not supposed to go up to that black belt and say, hey, you want to roll? You'd say, hey, I would always go up and say, hey, do you mind choking me out a few times?
So you enter it with a little bit of humor.
Definitely. Humor and respect, and I go at their pace. I don't come in, hey, do you want to roll, and then slap hands and try to like
kill
it's
them.
the final of the world championships. I go in because I learn a lot more by just flowing than to see how great I'm going to do. This guy's a world champion. What do you expect? You're a regular brown belt, and you're going to cruise in. You think you're going to catch him? There's a very, very slim chance.
You might
that's
catch
gonna
him, but that's
happen.
just one time.
And that's somebody like Daniel. I think he told me he hadn't been tapped out in over 10 years.
Wow.
But the guy's a 11-time world medalist.
Crazy. Yeah.
Some guys will never
That's some
experience
hustle.
that in their entire life.
Yeah.
I would. I mean, if I tried.
And the thing is, those guys are so nice. Daniel,
Yeah, he is.
Holland, they're all so nice. They will roll with you. They will smile, and they are great guys. They'll pay for your dinner after a seminar that you just did with them. They're great guys, but also they have that. They're world champion.
Sure.
They didn't get there, by not working hard. So, you come in with the wrong attitude, you can definitely get dealt with, in a mean fashion.
Yeah, I've seen the people who have competitive experience. They understand that they don't need to compete in the gym, and they understand that on the mat it's training. Now, sure, we're going to have hard rolls or we're going to have some hard sparring, but it's not a competition. I was talking to one of our guys this morning about it, of the whole, gym, wars in the gym where you're going as hard as you can, and you're, maybe getting clipped too hard in sparring, or, getting a knee, hyperextended in rolling. You're not getting paid for that. So why in the world would you spend any amount of time, getting hurt in the gym? But I do think there is a reason that people are willing to risk it, and it's because they don't have any competitive experience. So what's their competitive experience? Going and rolling with Daniel Moraes and seeing if you can tap him.
Exactly.
They've never been in a tournament. They've never done something like that. Is
Sure.
What I mean.
And there may be some people that have done some smaller tournaments, but they haven't done worlds.
Exactly. That's what we get a lot of is we would have guys, even some of our own students, that would never go to the tournament and compete, but they would go as hard as they can with you.
Yep.
Crazy. And then even if we had a little in-house tournament just for fun, they want no part of it.
Yeah.
Because their ego.
They didn't want to lose.
They don't want to tap. They don't want to lose in front of anybody. And then you get the guys who are doing the smaller tournaments and they win that, right? At purple belt, brown belt, whatever. They got 2 matches. They've never done the Worlds, Pan Ams, even like a Florida Open or New York Open, something that's a big tournament, and gone against really, really, really tough guys at that belt, the best guys in the world, much less black belt world champion.
Sure.
So they come in with the wrong attitude. They think because they won 2 matches at the last local tournament that they're going to come in and wreck Daniel Marias.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
Now, to back up just a smidge, you have done this in the past, Ryan. Is this true? You've done a check it out. You've done a dojo raid. You walked in and said, mine now.
It was this was a long time ago. This was I've been doing this for 17 or 18 years now. So a friend of mine who we all trained Muay Thai together was online or something, and a guy had a Wing Chun school, and he said, hey, why don't you come by and spar? So my friend Jamal, he was a professional fighter, Muay Thai champion, really tough guy, super nice, and kind of a thing like we did today, but it turned for the worse. Oh. So we went there. My instructor called me, he was a Florida State heavyweight Muay Thai champion, and he said, hey, you might want to come with Jamal and I because this might get out of hand. Because their instructor said, come in, this isn't like the fake UFC stuff. We don't use gloves, it's a concrete floor, and this is real deal street fight.
Oh, so you were fighting in the WWE for a day. It looks like it was a street fight.
So we went in, the Jamal wrapped his hands, and that's all they'd let him do, no gloves or anything. So, and they had cameras set up to show that the Wing Chun was superior to, Muay Thai. And so anyways, the first guy that went really nice with Jamal. Then they put him with a big guy, and it was just standing up. The guy was coming really hard, and the guy took Jamal down. And the instructor said, stand it up. And my coach said, no, it's on the ground now. Let it go. And so Jamal breaks the guy's arm. Oh. So now everybody's really upset. So they go, now you're going with the best guy. And this guy has on glasses, and
they put Jamal with the best guy now?
Yeah, they put Jamal with their best student, their toughest
after
student.
He broke someone's arm.
After he broke this big guy's arm.
Oh, here we go.
And was the guy with glasses going, no.
No, he wanted
He
this.
wanted to do it.
And so my instructor said, hey, buddy, would you like to at least take off your glasses? And he said, there's no need. And so my instructor said, listen, man, even Superman takes off his glasses.
Yeah, how about it?
So
it's a good line. I like it.
It was, I think about 2 jabs to the face, then across, and the guy's nose split, and the guy fell face first on the concrete. Jamal put in the choke, and their instructor was saying stop. My instructor was saying keep going. So Jamal listened, choked the guy unconscious, and a pool of his own blood, and.
Sure. And then you guys just walk out of there, no problem?
We were asked, my instructor at that time was saying, you go for these 2 guys, and I'll take these 2 over here, and Jamal, be ready. Like, as soon as Jamal gets up, be ready. And their instructor asked us kindly to leave.
Yeah.
But this was, years and years and years ago. This was probably 2000.
But it sounds like you were invited to that madness. It wasn't like you said, let's just go in here and show them up. They said, hey, we have concrete floor and come get beat up.
Yeah.
And then you just went and didn't get beat up.
This is the real deal. This is not fake UFC, anything like that. We do the real deal here.
Real deal.
And
now if it was around 2000, that was kind of the breaking point of like, what does work, is it this? There were still people who are like, this MMA stuff, is it real? And I've studied Wing Chun and Jeet Kune Do, and I do think there's a lot of very good parts of Wing Chun and JKD. But to be blind to the fact that a Muay Thai fighter knows how to strike and a Jiu-Jitsu fighter knows how to choke is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know? It's a different age. I mean, now you don't see that as much. You don't see, you know, a karate guy saying, you know what? I still think that I could beat this Jiu-Jitsu guy. They're pretty much like, nah, I don't want to go to the ground with someone who knows Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah. The Henner Gracie was speaking the other day, and I think about 80% of their associations are actually karate academies, Wing Chun, just Taekwondo, whatever. And these were the same guys that back in the day were fighting the Gracies, doing the Gracie Challenge. And that, would say, this doesn't work. And they'd have to get choked and slapped. And
pretty cool. You got to give them props for realizing how well jiu-jitsu works and saying, you know what, can't beat them, join them. I want to have jiu-jitsu in my school. That's cool.
And that's what Henner was saying, is it was unfortunate that that's how these guys had to learn.
Sure.
But now the thing is that these guys are partners, and sharing the art. And these guys realize that, hey, kicking and the punching, that's all great, but if the fight hits the ground, you have to know how to defend yourself somewhat. So they implement that, and now these guys were at war, now they're friends.
Yeah, that's cool.
And so it's cool how all that changed.
Sure.
know?
So how do you guys feel about like pure wrestlers, like leaving college, Phil Davis, pure wrestlers, and then they go into the UFC, they learn a little bit of jiu-jitsu, but they never train jiu-jitsu, and now they're just going to wrestle their way to getting points and then maybe not get choked out?
I don't think that's happening much anymore. In fact, with Phil, he was still on the wrestling team when he started training with me, which wasn't a very well-known fact. Now the world knows.
Yes.
But he started training with me before he had won his 2008 national championship. And we were kind of doing it a little bit behind closed doors and whatnot. But from day one of Phil Davis training MMA, he wanted to learn it all. Like I went from teaching him a jab to, hey, check this out. This is an arm bar and a triangle choke and whatnot. And we had some other good coaches that were helping teach him as well. But I don't think we see that much anymore. In fact,
because if you pure wrestle, you get to the ground and then what?
Exactly. You see,
get submitted.
Yeah. And you see a lot of wrestlers that duck their head into the guard and they get armbarred and triangled and choked all, but they pick up on it. I think the turning point, and I would venture a guess that you'll agree, was Hughes Gracie, And what happened was Matt Hughes didn't beat Hoyce with wrestling. He beat him with jiu-jitsu.
Exactly.
So that's cool. So I don't think you really see that much.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I mean, there's, Cain Velasquez. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu with the gi.
Yep.
Daniel Cormier, I think's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu with the gi. I mean, these guys are, and that's the best guys in the world. They are incredible wrestlers, but they're humble enough to put on the gi.
Yep.
George St. Pierre, all these guys, for the most part, Verdum, all these guys put on the gi. Conor McGregor trains in the gi. I think he's a purple belt, right?
I think he's a brown belt.
Yeah, he might have just got his brown. But yeah, they're, most of these guys are putting on the gi now and realizing that, it's not the old days, and, you're not going to find a guy walking down the street with the gi on, or, you're not going to fight a guy in MMA with the gi on. But it helps your no gi.
It does.
It helps you to defend. If I can't submit somebody and they're wearing a gi, then most likely it's going to be very difficult to submit them without the gi.
For you guys, a lot of your students, people that have been in jiu-jitsu forever, this is a silly question. But for me, a lot of people that I know that watch the podcast, people that don't know a lot about it or just getting into it, this is a legitimate question. What's the big difference between a gi and no gi? Like really, other than the obvious, one, you've got more clothes to grab a hold of, you can grab the jacket or whatever. How big a change is it if you're training gi forever and then you go into the UFC and you can't wear it anymore? Does that screw anything up, or is it not a big deal, losing the gi?
Oh, that definitely would. If they were gonna fight MMA, they're definitely gonna have to transition.
Because can you use the gi to throw people around?
You can, but yeah, once you go into MMA and you do no-gi, I do think that there's some people who train exclusively gi and then get really scared of no-gi because they don't have the handles and they don't know how to grab onto wrists and get collar ties and bicep control and all of that. So that I think would also be a hindrance on someone if they train exclusively gi and then they did MMA. They're not going to have all the grips that they need. But expound on how you think that gi training does help the no gi aspect of MMA.
I mean, they say, with the gi, it is 70% technique, 30% scramble. And then without the gi is 70% of a scramble, 30% technique. So you're taking away the sweat factor. I have all these grips to control you, choke. So it's making you keep your elbows in, being aware of grips touching you, making sure your neck's, tucked. Just little things like that. Like with my fighter Jay. He's been with me for a year. He has a strong wrestling background. So I started him in the gi. I said, you're going to do gi. You're going to do competitions in the gi. And you're going to learn this first and see how you do. I'm not just going to throw you into an MMA fight straight off the bat. Because if he goes with a guy who's trained in the gi and trains no gi and is a purple belt, Jay's going to get submitted for the most part, And it's just, I definitely think the gi helps your no-gi game. But if they were just training in the gi, then went straight into an MMA fight, never trained no-gi, that would be a little bit difficult because of your grip fighting, obviously. You're used to grabbing something, now it's not there.
Halfway through the podcast, I finally stopped sweating.
Nice.
Like I can
You're
feel,
looking good.
I can feel it cooling off a little bit. My hair's going to start drying where it is, but we're okay.
You didn't take a shower, you said?
I didn't. I forgot a towel, and I was just like, whatever. I'll just throw this on top of it and just be sweaty.
I've found that that taking a cold shower will help stop my sweating. But I have the same problem, especially in the summer. If you take a hot shower, you're done training, take a hot shower, go out in the hot car, and you just keep sweating.
I never stop sweating in the summer. You haven't really experienced me in the summer yet.
And this is a guy that wants to go to Thai camp.
I do.
And train for 4 days in the Oregon mountains where it's 70
It's cool
to
there.
80.
It's the Pacific Northwest.
Go to Florida. Just go to Florida where I'm from, and then you guys can see what hot really is. And getting in a hot car.
Yeah, and there's humidity.
Yes, the humidity is what kicks you.
I was there in February. It was awful. Florida's an awful place. I'm sorry. I know you're there. You're from there, but I took a run, and the only good thing about it is that it's flat. And being in Pennsylvania, there's nothing flat, so I'm running and it's flat. And then all of a sudden, no lie, out of the Orange River comes a crocodile, and I was like, "You suck, you dinosaur thing! You ever see a 250-pound chubby dude do 5-minute miles? Like, whoo! I was toast. I was gone. That thing was so scary.
I bet.
Yeah. Did you know that Ryan's not only a surfer, black belt in Jiu Jitsu, owns his own gym, but he's a radio guy too?
No way.
He did radio with a dude in Jacksonville that played for the Jaguars for the pro team.
Yep, a guy, Tom McManus.
No way.
Yep, we had a radio show. It was called Suck It Up.
Suck It Up.
Yep, so Tom is really into martial arts. He loves it, loves mixed martial arts, and he's about 6'6", and I'd say like 330.
Big dude.
And
he was like a lineman.
Like no
big dude.
Fat on the guy. He is humongous.
Wow.
He's like, I'd like to come train with you, And I'm like, I don't think I want to train with you.
So that's actually a good segue. So, I'm average sized in between like the heavyweight and the little, bantamweights and whatnot. So I'm average sized as a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and all the way through, I would assume, at least for me, it's kind of started at purple belt, where people start, just kind of headhunting. Oh, there's a purple belt. I want to see if I can tap him, blah, blah. So as you progress, I feel like that does get worse. You're always going to have that guy that wants to go 100% and tap you out. What has been your answer to that while you're rolling? You know what I mean? Like obviously, answer number one is tap him first, and good job, let's play now or whatever. But you're always going to get those complete dickheads that just want to go 100%. What is your answer to that?
I mean, for me, I would travel around with Daniel Marias, doing seminars and everything. And, you know, I was his brown belt, and Gracie Mag, you know, he put on there, I'm his best brown belt in the United States, things like that. So when I would go, they see, you know, skinny guy, brown belt, you know, I check it out. The guy wants to check it out. So for me, you know, sometimes you'd be a little nervous, like, man, I don't want to get submitted or whatever. And so I got to the point where if I have a guy like that, I'll just let him get whatever position he wants. Yeah, I really don't care. And so he gets that 5 minutes where he goes crazy. He tries to submit me. I let him have my back. And, of course, I'm defending.
Sure.
So then at the end of that 5 minutes, you know, I know in my head, he can't submit me.
Sure.
This guy can't submit me whatsoever from any position. So now when I start wanting to attack, I'm not really too worried because I know my defense is solid.
Sure.
I don't know if you've ever been able to train with like Henner or his brothers. But
I haven't.
There's a video on YouTube of Henner and I training, and it's really odd because they like let you pass, and then they just lay flat on their back and just say like this, and you know, you're like, are you okay? And they're like, yeah, just do what you want. And it feels so odd.
You having a stroke right now?
To have somebody just lay there and not.
Gordon Ryan recently.
I dated someone like that. They just lay there. It's the worst. It's the worst. I'm sure it's the same thing, and it's the worst.
Good call. I mean, the whole limp noodle thing, like, especially in like I said it in clinch the other night.
You act like you're enjoying this in some way, or fighting in some way. But depending on which situation you're in.
I totally touched base on that in class when we were in clinch, and someone instead of like, or no, it was in jiu-jitsu class. So we were doing inside bicep control and having biceps. Well, the other person has to give a little bit of resistance, otherwise it's just like, you know?
Yeah.
The limp noodle. Yep.
Yeah. If you're teaching someone how to shake hands, you can't just have them squeeze a boneless chicken breast for 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's definitely the creepiest handshake that you can feel is the one where they don't squeeze.
Where it's almost like they're using their fingertips.
Yeah, just you get a whole thing of fingertips and thumb, you know, and you're like, what is this?
There was this one guy, he was going to get a job in our radio station, and I'm so glad he ended up not getting it. And I shook his hand, and it was like, I was like, do you even have bones in there? It felt like I was squeezing a bag of whitefish. Just like, I was like, I don't know how you don't even, I couldn't even make my hand that limp if I wanted to.
I call people out on it. Like when I go, let's try that again. That was a little weak. I need to show you how to shake a hand.
So shake a hand.
Yeah, and especially, you know what the other one is interesting? I found this in radio sales. We actually had like a little training session where we were literally learning how to shake hands, and my sales manager was like, all right, shake so and so's hand, and it was an older female. So of course, like the way, give me your hand, the way to do it, you know, we've been taught in some way of be nice, you know. And she grabbed onto that sucker and was just boom.
You're fighting now.
And it was a real handshake, and she's like, that's how you shake a woman's hand. And I'm like, wow. Good call.
Don't be super polite.
Yeah. Some people pride themselves on their handshake. You know?
I think I have a nice handshake. It's not too firm. It's not too soft. I don't grab your fingertips. That's weird.
Yeah.
What are we dating?
Yeah, that is weird.
What is this? Is this a sex move?
Yeah, I call that the claw. When you in jiu-jitsu, when you grab all of their fingertips and you just go like this, and then they're just sitting here like that. I call that the claw.
Yeah.
Some people get so annoyed.
If you have a medium handshake, though, just. You know, probably us three have about the same handshake, and then you get a guy who really has a strong handshake, and you leave going, I should have given him a stronger shake.
Yep.
You know, I want to go back and get a redo.
Well, you almost have
you know, I want to redo this. Just like you were saying, let's redo this. But I want to come back to go, man, my hand doesn't usually crumple.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I didn't know you're coming in 100%. You know,
coming in with the heat.
50 here.
He's got the heater, and you're like, oh, we're gonna do this. Then we're doing this. I guess we're doing this. And now you're not shaking hands anymore. You're arm wrestling the guy like Sylvester Stallone and Over the Top. You have, I've got to turn my hat around backwards if we're gonna do this. Rip the sleeve off my shirt. Like, I just wanted to say, how are you? It's nice to meet you. That's why I like in martial arts. I don't have to shake anybody's hand. You just do this
to show respect,
and you're done.
Yeah.
Although when John Chive talked, I didn't know you had to hold it.
Yeah. Okay. Let me touch base on that.
So we just hold it like for 30 minutes. I'm just like, my arms are getting tired.
Yeah. I feel bad for Ryan when he's here because anytime the student messes up, Ryan pays the
Yep.
price.
Yeah.
Did anybody
He
mess
goes-
up? I feel like we
no,
were all
we
very
were
good.
pretty good this time.
I've seen it before.
He's done that on tests. Yeah, Ryan has trained with Adrian Chai as well. But he's done that. He's gone. Suppose, sir, that your student messes up, you do the push-ups. He's done that on tests. But no, showing respect. If you, we're carrying over the culture from Thailand.
Yeah.
Okay. And when you go to the gyms in Thailand, I have not been to Thailand, but I've done extensive research on it, and I've talked to a lot of people who have. When you go to Thailand, they're not showing respect 24/7. You know, so I think that's kind of been an Americanized concept of. So if this is showing respect for twice as long is even more respectful. So I'm just going to keep it up forever, you know. I think that's where that came from. And then you get people who are just like this the entire time. And the way that I always do it, when he shows respect, you show respect. Simple as that. If he's keeping his hands up, you keep your hands up. Simple as that. And there's more respectful ways to show the why as well. So this way is just kind of like nice to meet you and whatnot. But going like this is a very respectful way. Like I respect you and I trust or I submit to you. Like with Ajahn Chai, most of the pictures that I've ever seen myself showing respect, I'm like this, and I'm looking at him, but I'm looking down, and that is more respectful. But keeping that up for 2 weeks straight.
The whole seminar.
Yeah, that's
there
a
were
little
people
ridiculous.
walking around like this. So
I let people do it until he goes. He's the one in charge. But a lot of times he'll say, "You can put your hands down."
I think the guys who are doing it are ones I was at your old location.
Yeah.
It was next to the Honey Ham place.
Yes.
And so I went in, and the Ajahn Chai seminar was going on, and he said, "Okay, let's do the position or whatever, and respects." And I think one of your students didn't do that, so he made you do push-ups.
Yep.
And I'm guessing, I don't know, I haven't asked, but I'm guessing after that seminar, you probably really let the guys know that you need to always be doing this after he shows the position. So maybe that's why the guys were just
they don't want the push-ups to be handed down.
Yeah, because Ryan's going to definitely give him some love afterwards.
did it come downhill after the seminar? Did you say, by the way, remember that time I did 50 push-ups? 2 million.
No, maybe. If I've done that to any students, call me out on it. I think I might have, but I can't remember when. You know what I did do once? During a test, I called out one of the students that was testing, and I said they did something wrong. And then they were certain that they did it right, but I was sure that they did it wrong. And then afterwards, I had some more people come up and they said, "Sir, I don't mean to call you out, but I think they were right. I think you were wrong." And I went, "Ooh." So we went back and we watched the footage of the test, and the student was completely right. The person was testing was right. So I'm like, crap. So what I did for the next test was every time a student did push-ups, I had to do them with them. So it's kind of happened the reverse, where I've screwed up.
So you'll punish yourself.
So yeah, I think that's the right thing to do. I don't have as much of an ego to say, no, I was right. Even though you were right, screw it. I was right. I'm not going to do push-ups. I just do push-ups.
Yeah, I would have been like, well, I guess I have to destroy this tape and get everyone that saw it kicked out of the gym forever and burn their houses down and threaten their families. I haven't been doing this long enough to receive the calm you guys have. It might be the fact that I don't use that crazy heebie-jeebie soap you guys are using.
There we go.
What the heck is this soap? You talked about.
Do you have any of that with you, Ray?
I have some that I use. I was curious to.
You both have different soaps. So you had like a
what
red
you're
and black soap. You have an orange soap, but it's
Sure.
What makes it Jiu Jitsu soap?
Well, okay, let me start by the soap company started, first off, because of all of the different mat infections you can get from training on the mat. Ringworm, MRSA, staph, impetigo, which I think is a kind of
SARS.
one of those.
Yeah.
Probably.
I don't know. I'm just making
Yeah, hopefully not like AIDS. But anyways,
Ebola.
if you don't take showers and you don't wash yourself, the stuff that you get off of the streets and put on the mats in some way is going to go onto your skin. So I think that's where the soap companies came from. The Tatami Guard that we use is actually a local supplier. And with you're actually not allowed saying antibacterial on a soap unless it's approved by the FDA.
Okay.
So
So it's
that's
vehemently against bacterial.
Yeah, you can say something to that almost like that. Yeah, but that's where the jiu-jitsu soaps came in. We need something that will fight all of these, but we can't say they're antibacterial. So there's Tatami Guard. The arm.
Yeah,
what is it?
The one that I use is
Hold
called
it up here while you're talking.
Armbar Soap Company. Let's see.
There we go.
Armbar Soap Company, and they have really cool packaging, all that stuff. But for me,
that's really cool.
It's not so much about you're not turning a huge profit on that or anything like that. Being a gym owner, we like our mats clean, we want our gym clean, and I want my students clean as well.
Big time.
So before they had this, myself personally, after a hard training session, I would go home and use like a dandruff shampoo, and put that on my skin, and you could feel it, like basically eating away at anything that's on you. They say within 2 to 3 hours of training, you need to take a shower. If not, then it's because when you sweat, your pores are opening up, and so whatever fungus may be on there is, getting in your skin. And so
I'm playing fast and loose with Dove soap. Like I'm throwing caution to the wind and just using Ivory, and I'm probably going to get AIDS now because I'm not using this stuff.
Well, the thing is, those soaps, they smell great, but it basically just masks over, whatever's there. So these soaps, like this one, has an exfoliant in there. All of them have an exfoliant, and they also have tea tree oil in it. So tea tree oil, and there's another one called manuka oil, and these oils are what kill the staph and all those things like that. It's actually an oil off the bark of trees, and so that with whatever ingredients they have in there, this soap company is all natural. Everything's all organic. And then it has an exfoliant in it. That's the main thing, whether it be oatmeal, whatever it is to exfoliate your skin. So that's basically getting all that fungus out of there. The tea tree oil's in there, then you have an exfoliant to, open up your skin and get all that stuff out of your pores. But then it's not good to exfoliate your skin too much.
Yeah.
So if you exfoliate it and then you use Dove or something.
What if I take Dove and I get it wet and I put it in a Quaker Oats bucket and then I wash my... That's the next podcast.
You could have a soap company.
Is Dove antibacterial?
I don't know.
I don't think
it's what my wife buys, so that's what I end up using.
I think I use Safeguard, and that is antibacterial. Now, the thing with the antibacterial is you actually don't want to wash away all the bacteria because there's good bacteria on your skin as well that helps fight infection and whatnot. So, but I actually use a combo of the Safeguard, and then I'll use our Tatami Guard or Armbar soap, whatever it is. But I've been lucky. I haven't had any skin infections ever from any of our gyms. The only time that I've ever gotten anything, one time was a tournament. Where they were walking into bathrooms with their shoes off and standing in the pee and then walking. Disgusting.
Yeah.
That was one time.
And then they're playing rubber guard.
Exactly.
Their foot in your face, and you just saw them walking around barefoot in the bathroom. No, thank you.
What did you say? You see someone in the bathroom barefoot, it's 1,000 push-ups.
I do. Yeah, Ryan, I called out. There's one kid. That was in the
gym.
Here's what I did. Oh, yeah, here. Yeah, you really get it.
Go home.
But at a tournament, I think I mentioned this on another podcast. There's a guy that was... a kid, I bet you was 16 or 17. I think he was a blue belt, standing in peeing at the urinal. And I go, "Where are your shoes?" And he's like, and I'm like, 100 push-ups right here. And then you have to wash your hands and your feet. And he's like, "You're not my coach." And his coach walks in, and I'm like, and he goes, "He's trying to tell me to do push-ups." I'm like, "He needs to do push-ups." He's like, "Why?" I'm like, "His shoes are off." He goes, 500 push-ups, go. Made his student do 500 push-ups.
Now he's got 600.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. He should have been.
I think I let him. He would have hated his life. Add another 3.
So I went up to the. I went right up to the mic to the mic that they had, and I got the seminar organizer, and I said, "We got people going in the bathrooms without shoes on. It's disgusting. I don't want any of my guys getting anything." And from there on, in fact, I think it still holds in that tournament. If you walk into the bathroom without shoes on, you're disqualified. It's the way it should be.
Yeah. That's like just having to leave the gym here.
Yeah.
You're disqualified for the night.
Yep.
Go home.
You're putting everybody at risk. Is essentially what you're
Yeah,
doing.
because if you're training jiu-jitsu, then your face is right there where their foot just stepped. That is disgusting.
It is.
Absolutely disgusting.
It is. So, hey, we have what? We have about a little under 10 minutes left. So tell us about your gym, where it's located, any info that you have on it.
Yeah, so it's in Lock Haven, PA. That's about 45 minutes from here, an hour. I found out today.
Yeah.
And it's at another gym called Fitness Unlimited. So basically, the first floor is weights. The second floor are there's a sauna, there's showers for men and women, and then the third floor is just all me. It's matted out with heavy bags and all that good stuff. Not nearly as nice as this gym.
Thank you.
This is amazing, man. I want to say congratulations on all your success.
That means a lot.
Because when like I said, when we met, you were a white belt at a smaller gym.
Yep.
And I'm sure along the way, and a good buddy of mine, Alan Belcher, who used to fight in the UFC, is in Biloxi, Mississippi.
Yep. Yeah. In fact, I keep up with him as well.
He was told he could not do it. He could not open a gym in an area like maybe even similar to this, because you think with the college you get a ton of people, but with people rotating out,
cyclical.
You lose a lot of students, and you don't want that. You want to keep them for forever, And Alan was told, if you want to have a successful gym, you have to be in Atlanta. He has 1,000 students.
That's
he has
awesome.
a gym a little bit bigger than this.
That's awesome.
And you're doing the same thing.
That means a lot.
That's amazing, because you didn't have to bring in some world champion, and hey, come here because of this guy or that guy. You've always done it your way, always.
I'll tell you what, I think one of the biggest reasons that we have success is, I've always said, it's not the gym that makes the people, it's the people that make the gym. So we've always had a solid crew of guys and girls, and it's just that just multiplies, when people come in and have good vibes.
Definitely.
And I mean, you saw where I started in a hole in the wall, you know what I mean? But what I've always done is
you mentioned at one point you went from a hole in the wall to sneaking into the white building on campus at times.
We did. Yeah. We actually got kicked out of
the hole in the wall.
Yeah, we got kicked out of the hole in the wall pretty much, and we needed somewhere to train, so we were going up on campus. Then we got kicked out of campus because you can't have, but anyways, what I've always done is, with the facility, I always give back to the students, I'm confident in saying this is probably one of the top 10 facilities on the East Coast, without question. And I think it's all because of the people that train here, and everything that we've had extra in regards to income, we give back to the students in the form of an awesome facility. Whether it's like over spring break, not to toot my own horn and brag about it, but whether it's over spring break and we're installing more water fountains, getting new mats, all of that stuff really adds up. And I think
Christmas, we were putting all kinds of cages up.
We were putting cage walls up. Yeah, we were, welding stuff. And any chance I get to give back to the students in the form of a better facility, I'll do that. And I got to commend you as well. I mean, I think you're on your way to doing that.
I'm just trying to do the best I can, and the area I'm at is also a small area, but I look at guys like yourself and Alan who have, I know that you were right in the heart of State College, like right there.
Sure.
And you said, hey, you know what? It's actually a little bit better on the
for a little bit out, yeah.
Just a little bit better out there instead of right in the college where you think that's the best spot.
It's so much better in this location just because of parking. And I live, You know, I'm a townie now. I live a mile away, and everyone seems to live closer to this location than ever
crazy.
downtown.
Yeah.
Because downtown, you get downtown, and now what? Now where do you park? And you have to pay to park, and it's a pain in the butt.
Yeah, there's people that think that because they think it's like New York City. If you're in the heart of the city, that's where the most people are, and that's not true for State College. You got to find parking. You know, you got to fight traffic. It really sucks to go through that. Our location now is exactly between being right downtown and being on the outskirts. Yeah. We're right outside of downtown, so students can walk to us. If you live downtown, you can literally walk to us. But everyone who lives in the surrounding areas, it's really easy to get to. Parking, you know.
And the main thing is getting the people who live on the outskirts.
Yep.
You know, to have the students, most of the students are on a tight budget.
Sure.
You know, and it's tough for them to sign up and, you know, juggle their classes, and if they have anything extra going on, and then being here, then they, you know, after 2 years they're gone, or a year they're gone. It's nice, you know, I like having the families, you know, having guys that are 40 years old,
yep.
you know, and having their kids and their wife and that kind of atmosphere.
This guy.
Yeah, that's what you want. I would rather.
Nobody wants this guy.
No, we do. Here's. Go ahead. Sorry,
I'd rather have that. I would rather have that than have some kid who's 20 years old, who's broke, who wants to be a fighter, who thinks that you owe them everything.
Started a GoFundMe account, so yeah.
Exactly.
So you can pay for.
I would rather have a guy who I'm helping out, you know, his wife,
yep.
you know, that it's a family environment. It's nice. It's, you know, I always tell my guys, you know, we're family here, and
yep.
we're not, you know, family through blood, but through sweat. And we're, you know, all tight, and we all bond together, and we all really care about each other 100%. And it's not just a gym. You come in, beat the crap out of each other, and leave.
Well, between my son's classes and my classes, and my daughter wants to take classes, I was like, I'm going to need a room here.
There you go.
I'm
set up a cot in the back.
Right. Right, yeah. Absolutely. Well, that's great, and I'm glad it's working for you in Lock Haven, because the surfing there is terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Luckily, I train under Francisco Mansour. He's a red belt directly from Elio Gracie, and he's out in New York, and so I have a lot of friends out there and in the Hamptons and all that good stuff. So I get to go out there and surf, and plus I can always take a trip somewhere where it's nice and warm.
To touch base on that pedigree. At Jiu-Jitsu, you get your black belt, but after black belt, there's technically red and white, then red and black, and then red belt. So there's more belts after black. So red belt is the highest belt that you can attain. What is it? I want to say it's like 27 years or something like that.
It takes from getting your black belt to red belt. It takes 40 years.
40 years.
So most people won't live that long.
You're right.
Because if you start now, like I wouldn't be able to do that.
No, you
wouldn't.
wouldn't.
Take me 10 years to get to a black belt, maybe.
Yeah.
And then 40 years, I'd be 90.
Well, it might be a little bit.
How awesome would that be?
Different, you know.
90-year-old red belts just totally doing their thing, jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I mean it's amazing.
Crap in my gi.
Your gi.
I pooped in my gi, guys, but I'm 90, so sorry.
Yeah, I mean, Master Mansour, you know, he'll come and just, you know, put his chair out there and tell you what to do, and then if you're doing it wrong, he'll jump on there, and his, you know, it's not like he can sit there and roll with you. He could.
Sure.
But when he puts a position on, oh my goodness, it's heavy. The technique is tight. That never leaves. The technique never leaves.
That's a great thing to touch on real quick before we wrap up, is how martial arts and we'll relate to jiu-jitsu is for a lifetime. You know, like you're going to get to a point where you can't compete any longer with the in their prime studs. You know, we talk about this like with the attributes and whatnot. I mentioned it last night.
I like to call that the "it is what it is" lesson.
It is. It is what it is. If you're 40 years old and you have a herniated disc and insert whatever else here. You have a family. Blah 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 blah. It doesn't mean you can't train. You know, you just got to train right. You know, so that's interesting hearing that, and that's great to hear that. I can't wait until I'm his age, and I'm going to do the same thing. You know, I might not be able to roll with everybody, but I'll be able to still be involved in some way.
That's why I thank the guy those guys who beat me up.
Sure.
Because they changed my life for
That's
the rest
awesome.
of my life. I'll do this forever. And, like you were saying earlier about guys coming and wanting to go after you.
Yep.
Coming in to train with you to see how legit you are and this and that.
Yep.
And that's why, at some point we're going to lose our physical attributes,
Yep.
our speed, our power, all these things. But having the technique, and hey, maybe I can't tap out the 20-year-old when I'm 50, but I can still defend myself and maybe not get submitted. And so that's a win for me.
Sure.
I don't have to, just because I'm a black belt means that you have to tap everybody.
I still would have set those guys' surfboards on fire.
We always talk about bookends. I think that's perfect. We started off with that, and now we're just kind of...
Right. This is how we end our podcast. If you can come up with a better goodbye than this, then I welcome you to try. We usually just say goodnight podcast.
Yeah, well, right now,
Doesn't matter what
technically-
time of day it
You're
is.
right. I think we said goodnight podcast last time.
Goodnight
I don't know what you say. We just kind
How
of
do you
wrap
say
it up.
goodbye?
and-
How do you want to do it?
Until next time.
There you go.
There it is.
Until
Yeah.
next time.
And then this will fade to black.
Bye-bye.